Welcome back, Nerd Squad, to Top 10 Nerd. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers. If you happen to be new here, we are a nerd-centric channel that puts out daily videos on all things Marvel, DC, and well, nerd related. So if you're into that, tap that subscribe button to join our Nerd Squad. Plus, leave us a comment down below with which alternate version of Spider-Man is your favorite. And also don't forget to check out our newest sister channel called Tier List Official, where we rank everything from the most hated YouTubers to the worst fast food. But now let's jump into today's list of the top 10 scary Spider-Man fan theories. In at number 10, the stealth suit.
You going to step up or not?
With Spider-Man Far From Home coming to us in the near future, this startling fan theory seems like the perfect way to kick things off. A new theory is suggesting that the new Spider-Man stealth suit we are seeing in the trailers may not be Tom Holland. The theory goes that the Spider-Man in the stealth suit may be from another universe and is hunting down Mysterio. This theory kinda makes some sense, especially considering what we learned in the official trailer for Far From Home. As Nick Fury explains, Mysterio is from Earth, just not ours. He goes on to say that the snap tore a hole in their dimension. This could mean that other versions of Peter Parker could have also made their way into the 616. In at number 9, the boat people. When the new Spider-Man game dropped for the PlayStation 4, players were left in awe with these stunning graphics and web mechanics that were added to the game. Spider-Man games have always been fun to play, but this one really stepped things up. However, even though the city of New York was perfect down to the very last detail, many were shocked when encountering the boat people. On the Hudson River, you can find a few boats floating around, and one of which is manned by these disturbing looking NPCs. They don't move, they don't speak, and they don't even have hands. Some believe that the devs didn't bother adding anything to these seemingly first draft characters because they didn't think anyone would take Spidey out for a boat ride. However, a scary fan theory reveals that these boat people are from previous games and over the course of this franchise have always found a way to creep their way in. Even in this remarkably detailed world, the PS1 Spider-Man boat people seem to be alive and well. Well, not well, because they're missing hands. In at number 8, Mysterio's plan. We don't know about you, but the Top 10 Nerd team is beyond excited for the new Spider-Man Far From Home, and from the looks of that trailer, it looks as though Mysterio and Peter are working together to fight off these new creatures that have made their way into the 616 continuity. Although a fan theory is suggesting that Mysterio is behind these events and is orchestrating the entire thing. User Zay0202 explains by saying, "I think they may all just be illusions from Mysterio. Mysterio is fighting Hydro Man in a scene, and that doesn't seem right since they're both villains. What I think happened is that Mysterio makes these illusions so he can play the hero. Spider-Man kinda starts to feel jealous when Mysterio goes and fights Hydro Man. He says something along the lines of, 'You don't want any part of it,' or they go on to say, 'or something.' Then he goes on to fight. The scary part is that Spider-Man may discover this, but no one will believe him because of the hero status that Mysterio has built for himself. Thus, they will turn on Spider-Man. In at number 7, Mysterio is Victor Von Doom. Now I'm sure for some of you that last point was obvious. Many already can tell that Mysterio will undoubtedly turn out to be the villain. But the real question is, which villain? Yeah, that's right, there's a fan theory that believes Mysterio isn't actually Mysterio at all. They believe that he is none other than Victor Von Doom. The evidence for this theory comes from the amount of destruction that these supposed illusionary monsters are creating. They go on to say that Dr. Doom is not only a master inventor capable of making robots similar to the size of those elemental monsters, but he's also a great mystic. His next point is a bit far-fetched, but he thinks more proof can be found in the monsters themselves. This fan believes that they actually represent Doom's mortal enemies, the Fantastic Four, with Sandman being the Thing, Molten Man being the Human Torch, and for some reason he chooses Hydro Man being as Mr. Fantastic. In at number 6, not what it seems. We know from the recent trailer for Far From Home that Mysterio claims to be from another universe and enters Peter's when the snap happened. This fan theory believes that the fighting of those elemental creatures actually takes place on Mysterio's homeworld. Although the trailer mixes in the scenes, it's quite possible that Mysterio and other heroes had to escape to recruit others to help do battle in the Earth 886 continuity. The evidence they have for this is a single tweet from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Twitter page. It was tweeted out May 8th, far after the release of that film, yet for some reason they say, "See you in another dimension"? Could they be subtly hinting at the Far From Home movie also traveling to other dimensions to introduce other Spider-Man? Not just the spider totems though, but this also leaves an opening for other MCU characters such as Deadpool, the X-Men, and even the Fantastic Four. In at number 5, Spider-Trap. When we heard the title Far From Home for the new Spider-Man movie, our hopes peaked only to be horribly let down to learn that it meant a European vacation for Peter. Because of the introduction to the multiverse in that new trailer, a fan theory is thinking that Mysterio is actually lying about the snap. He very well likely came from another universe, but they think it's more likely that he came with a purpose rather than an escape or by accident. Perhaps when Peter discovers this deception, Mysterio will instead send Spider-Man to Mysterio's homeworld to avoid being found out. This could reveal that the title Far From Home has a much greater meaning than just a class trip abroad. In at number 4, human camouflage. In the first Spider-Man movie, before Peter gets bitten, there's a scene of the students being taught by a scientist about all of the different types of spiders. As he goes along, he's explaining the different abilities that each of them have, and the one that bites Peter is the amalgamation of all of those abilities, one of which is being able to blend or camouflage with its own web. Peter mentions this to Harry about how they can change their color to blend with their surroundings. This creepy fan theory though believes that this power also transferred to Parker, and he's been using it the whole time without realizing. They assume that when Peter was bitten, he actually mutated into this spider-human hybrid creature, and his subconscious is using this camo tactic to appear as a human. In at number 3, the chameleon. When Nick Fury takes out Peter's friend Ned, it seems a little too much out of character for the usually stoic personality that Fury has throughout his time in the MCU. Sure, he's probably been tired trying to track Peter down, but a fan thinks that the Nick Fury in this film isn't actually Nick. Plus, if Mysterio is actually a villain, it's much more plausible that Peter is being tricked by the chameleon versus Nick actually believing Mysterio has good intentions. That's right, this fan theory suggests that actor Newman Akar can be seen in similar clothing to Nick and is changing form to persuade Peter into his own demise. Although they still believe that the real Nick Fury will have a role in this film and is perhaps the one who tells Spider-Man that Mysterio is actually evil. This would then place the Spider-Man series in a good position to take on both Mysterio and the chameleon, and perhaps even continue that battle with the chameleon in the next film. In at number 2, Spider-Woman.
She knows, I told her.
He didn't tell me. I figured it out.
This fan theory, courtesy of Reddit, has a sneaking suspicion that MJ also isn't who she really says she is. They are speculating that MJ is actually Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Woman, from another dimension who was sent to monitor Peter. In the comics, Drew has deep ties with Hydra and eventually turns to the good side as a hero. This could also explain the scene in the trailer where we see MJ cutting Peter off, saying that he's Spider-Man when he approaches her to confess his love. We're assuming. It throws him for a loop, but also is a subtle hint that she understands what he's been doing and that she's there to protect him. Last but not least, at our number 1 spot, how Peter's parents died. The Spider-Man Homecoming film kind of glosses over the fact of how Peter's parents died, but there are some subtle hints that fans have taken and stretched to the maximum amount of assumption. A very popular Reddit fan theory suggests that his fear of heights comes from Peter's parents dying in the 9/11 attacks. There are brief images of planes, skyscrapers, and debris, which they think point to this depressing theory. In the comic books, his parents do perish in a plane crash, which places Peter with his aunt and uncle. Although it's unlikely that the MCU would recreate such a disaster, but it is possible that in place of it was the alien invasion during the plot of the first Avengers film. And that has been the top 10 scary Spider-Man fan theories. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then show us some love by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to check out our team's newest channel, Tier List Official, and leave us a comment down below with which fan theory you found was the scariest or most depressing. Plus, for more videos like this one, just click that playlist on the screen. And from Top 10 Nerd, I'm Johnny Rogers. Until next time, take care.